we are getting ready for our next bit of action on track, which is Group 4. And I'm delighted to be joined by a man I've actually wanted to meet for a long time. But Joe Colasacco, who, of course, has been racing in historic racing for a long time and has raced many different cars. He's also brought his son, Dominic, which is delightful. He, too, racing. I saw you in, I think, the Group 3 in the juniors, right?
Correct, Group 3, Formula Junior. Yeah, that's correct. Group 3, Formula Juniors, front, rear engine.
How was that?
Well, the weekend started out pretty well, but we had some issues on the pace lap. We didn't actually take the green.
Oh, so that was you?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I was on the front row with Art, and unfortunately on the outlap, the gearbox had an issue with the linkage, but we sorted it out already, so we'll be ready for tomorrow. That's
what always amazes me, is these problems get sorted out within the 24 hours or within the day that you're actually racing, and that's impressive. Dominic, I guess you just got forced into this when you were a kid, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I grew up at the track.
But you've got a big grin on your face, so I guess you must enjoy it as much as your dad.
I do. It's a shared passion between the two of us, so it's a pleasure to do it with him.
How long have you been doing it?
About 2 years with vintage racing, so not very long.
It's funny, I did the historics and I was amazed to see how many young men were coming into motorsport as a different way of entering into the field of motor racing, and same with SVRA here in the USA. You know, you can take a license quite simply and inexpensively and get the rudiments, then you can throw yourself in perhaps a Formula Junior, and you know, everything you need to learn about going fast is in these sorts of cars.
It's the perfect way to refine the skills you need as a driver starting, and really transitions into any kind of car you want to drive. That's why the Formula Juniors are a perfect stepping stone. Being a vintage car, it's similar to a Formula Ford and a modern day car.
Joe, what are you looking forward to looking at here, or what do you know of these cars? Have you driven any of these?
Well, actually, it's excited to see them. It's a shame that I'm not out there in this group because this is close to my heart. I work for Lawrence Oriana Racing back east, and Lawrence has one of the largest Italian car collections in the world, and a big part of it is right in this wheelhouse here in the 60s. Le Mans style FIA cars and SCCA cars, the GT cars. I drove for Lawrence a Maserati from '62 at Le Mans at the Classics, and we've had that actually out at Laguna Seca. We've driven that car around quite a bit at Goodwood, and yeah, there's a whole host of cars in our collection that would fit right in here. Unfortunately, the juniors took precedent this year, so we left most of them back home. But it's an iconic era. This is a good mix of cars here.
Well, what I like what they've done here, just to give it its official title while we're still under pace cars, we've got 63 to 68 FIA sports and prototypes, so actual race cars, and then you've got 63 to 69 SCCA production sports cars. So you've got production, there's a Corvette from 63, you've got production cars and you've got race cars, but we put them all together because they're from the same era.
That's right, yeah, it's a great mix of cars, and you can just tell, you know, what the mentality was behind the engineers, depending upon the series, with the low look of the Lolas and the Porsches, and then the big horsepower with the Corvettes and the Fords. It's just a great mix, and look forward to. And there's a lot of smaller displacement cars there on a track like this. Should do pretty well. There's some really great Lotuses out there that should do pretty well, especially recognizing some of the drivers.
And there's some great history too. That number 80 Mustang 1967 Shelby GT500. Huge history to that. A rare Shelby, perhaps the longest road race history of any GT500, dating back to '69, with major highlights including participation in the famed 71, 72 FIA Sebring 12-hour endurance race, and has raced every decade of its existence.
Wow.
So pretty impressive. So watch out for the number 80, all in red. And there's that Corvette from 1963. The split window, the famous split window as they call it. I remember hearing the story about how that came to be, and I always love hearing about that sort of thing. And they only made it for 1 year, and that was basically because the folks at Corvette weren't 100% sure that it would catch on. Yep. And now it's like a unicorn.
Yeah, I see the Lotus at the T70, I believe, out front. or in second place there.
Yeah, T70 Mark III Coupe from 1968.
Probably not the best track for a car like that. I mean, those cars were built for high-speed tracks, but I think there's enough to get the power down and stretch its legs a bit. And here come the little Porsches, a little bit more accustomed to a track like this with this a little small, lightweight, great handling cars, and great narrow.
Do you like Sonoma as a track? Because it looks like it's a real driver's circuit.
I do like it. Well, first off, the weather's incredible, so I think
exactly.
But it's been a while since I was out here. We did some Pro Mazda stuff here some years back. A lot of the infrastructure has changed, but the layout's pretty much the same. It's got some great elevation, some blind corners, and I think it's a really, really good driver's circuit.
Well, Dominic, you've got your feet under the table now. Have you got any thoughts on where you'd like to go with this or what you'd like to drive?
I'll drive anything that is available.
There you go. That's a good attitude, by the way.
Yep.
That'll put you in a lot of cars in historic racing.
I like the vintage racing because it's a little bit more raw.
Yeah.
You know, you get to really drive the car. You get to feel it. Modern day cars are a lot of plug and play. It takes a different skill set to be quick in a vintage car. You have to be gentle, which is a skill set that a young driver really needs to learn.
Yeah.
At a track like this, it's my first time here, so it's a big commitment track. A lot of blind corners. So it was a bit of a rough, scary start to the weekend, not knowing really where you're going and turning points and whatnot. But it was caught on quick, and being able to follow my dad a bit was helpful as well.
Yes, exactly. And that is a big part of motor racing is to basically follow somebody who may have a little bit more experience at the track itself and then realize, oh, I don't have to brake as early as I braked. I can brake a little later, or et cetera, et cetera. You know, you learn as you go along, so to speak. Dominic, but it's all coming at you.
He's being a bit modest because he gets to play with some modern day cars. You can tell him what you do for.
Yeah, I work for Ferrari North America.
Oh, right. And they make cars, don't they?
They do. some fun cars. And
what do you do for them?
I work on the Ferrari Challenge Series.
Oh, right, okay.
So the North American Ferrari Challenge Series.
Great series.
We were here actually a few months ago at Sonoma. So I've been to the track.
We'll see you at Vegas then.
Yes.
I'll be doing Vegas.
Yep, we've got a support race this year at Formula One Las Vegas.
I will make sure that I'm in touch with you because I was just thinking, what do I know about Ferrari Challenge? Because I'm going to be doing the commentary for that as well.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I'm excited for that because Vegas needed it. You know, they've got the Formula One, which is fantastic, but they needed more entertainment and more on-track stuff.
Yeah, something more for the fans to consume, and there's no better series to have than Ferrari Challenge.
No, absolutely not.
It's good fun.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Well, we're under safety again, but we can take you through some of the cars. There's plenty of Lotus 23s out there. What catches your eye? There's a Huffaker Formula Junior out there.
No, not in the junior.
Oh, no,
class.
sorry, that's not the junior. There's a Brabham BT8 out there, though.
Yeah, great cars, great cars. They're amazing sports cars and lots of success, very lightweight. Which car, who's driving this? 16.
Paddings Dowling, another big name out there in a Lotus 23B. There's the 17.
I think there's a Lotus 26R, which would be real interesting to keep an eye on just because of the way it could work this track. And I think that's Rob driving that car.
Yep.
So he's Rob and I have had some battles together in the past. He's a great driver. He gives you a lot of room, but it's great to see him out there driving that Lotus.
Gear Ramlet, the man leading at the moment in that Lotus 23B.
23B, great car. Perfect for this track. Just enough power to wait. Great on the brakes. And looks like it's being driven pretty well this weekend.
Jonathan Rosenthal in the B16 Chevron, also there in second place. And then one of the Burns, there's two, another father and son team, but Patrick Byrne is out there at the moment in third place ahead of Kelowna and Uzbek. Dave Hagen in sixth position. John Fudge, eighth at the moment. Kaufman and Hill rounding out the top 10. Well, not an easy session for these guys because they don't like to run under safety. The cars don't like to run slowly either because they heat up quickly.
Yep.
What is that, you know, when we're under safety like that, what is that a fear? How do you, is that sort of something you have to kind of you have a procedure for.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't get going, so it's tough to get a sense. You're basically out there for parade laps, and you're just watching your gauges and anticipating the start. It's frustrating.
They will heat up, won't they? When you're behind another car that's hot. And
yes, the temperatures will go up, and you get a little. Sometimes you'll have an opportunity just to refocus a bit, and the difference from starting side by side and the single file is always you can pick up some spots. But you have to be careful and you have to be alert, because sometimes if you're in the back of the pack and maybe you don't see the pace car lights go out, you can get caught out.
Yes, that's a good
so
point.
You have to keep the gaps. We never like it when drivers on the pace lap will drop back too far from the car in front of them, and you can, in case you're out of position, you just really get hung up behind some of the cars that are not closing up. They should be. They look pretty good this field, and I think the pace car lights are off.
Yeah. We should see that 23B, another Colin Chapman special, as it were, or specially made for the FIA Group 4 racing between 62 and 63. That's your leader, the number 21. And it was bought and owned by Alan de Cadenet and raced major tracks in England for a long time, and then a little bit in Europe, Imola, IMSA, Spa, and Laguna. Came back again to Laguna Seca.
Oh, yep. Yeah, he got the pedal down and.
Interestingly enough, that car that's leading was also driven by Alan Jones, former Formula One world champion.
Wow.
And of course, he won his Formula One world championship back in 1980 for Williams. His another son, father Christian, I knew his son did Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. I did commentary on him for a while. He won that. Didn't get to the dizzy heights of Formula One like his dad, but. Interestingly enough, another owner of one of those 23Bs, Mark Knopfler, if you know your music, from Dire Straits.
Dire
there
Straits,
you go.
that's right. Yeah.
I'm always amazed at how many musicians love race cars and, find themselves in a position to go out and buy their boyhood dream car because they've made, they make good money doing what they do.
Yep. The Corvette in third. There's a great mix up front. You can see the small displacement, lightweight car up front. And then a more of a big-bodied aero car in second, and the Corvette in third.
Yeah, they're putting on a good race here.
Is that, Rosenthal in second. Yeah, he's staying with him.
So we've got a 23X out there. The other 23 is the Ford GT40, and I love the description it put out here. Raced at the 1966 Le Mans car, and it's a 65 Ford GT40, and it crashed in practice. That's all they say about it. Whatever happened afterwards, it's here now. I like that.
So there's two big B16s in the top four. Kurt Uzbey from back east. We know Kurt. He's been around a long time. He's really come into sorts with that car in the B16. Doing well.
So we're watching our first action from Group 4. We have the Calasagos are here, Joe and Dominic, enjoying it. They'll be out again. When do you head out again?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
So we're fortunate enough to get an early race. A little too early, but it's much cooler than.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think
that's a
it's
good
in
point.
the 60s in the morning.
Yeah.
It's good for the cars and good for the
What's
drivers.
the hardest thing to keep the Formula Juniors going? Is the parts that are sort of hard to get?
Yeah, they're pretty fragile. We've gotten to the point where the engines are developing a lot more power than they did in period, quite a bit more, and put a lot of stress.
Does that make the whole car kind of not unstable, but it wasn't designed that way, so it's got more power than it needs?
That's correct. That's correct. Everything, all the stresses go through the chassis and through the gearboxes, so you're constantly doing more maintenance and put more loads in the corners. So I just think that they're fragile. You have to drive them hard, but you can't just wring their neck. You just have to be patient with them, unlike purpose-built cars of today. Like I race a Formula Ford and a Continental that are just bulletproof, and as long as you don't bang wheels, they'll just run and run.
Well, there's that Ford GT I mentioned in silver. Just ahead of it is the 63 Bobsey SR3.
Bobsey, yeah.
Beautiful sound too they're making out there, roaring around. Kelowna still in, fourth place? just behind him, Uzbek in 5th. Then Hagen, Lyon, Fudge, Kaufman, and Campbell.
Yeah, there's 2 Porsches.
So our first look at the 88. That is Lyon in the 88. That's a 1971 race, excuse me. It's a 67 Porsche 910. Don't often see too many 910s.
No, they're pretty rare. It's nice to see them out there, and they were great cars. They're just unfortunately everything's gotten so expensive. People don't like to bring them out, but it's really great to see that car out on track.
Well, it's an interesting car because it was bought from the factory and sold to Ed Abart from San Jose, who campaigned it in SCCA events across California in the 70s, and then took it to Watkins Glen, did the 24 Hours of Daytona, and so it too has a busy schedule, or has done. Its second owner, Dan Hanna of Portland, Oregon, continued to compete in SCCA, so all the way up to 82. So it's done a lot of racing, and now it's doing a lot of historic racing. Is that car? That's a pretty car.
Very,
37 very Porsche. Another 910.
You could just see where the lighter weight chevrons have a bit of an advantage to the S's, and then the big Lola pulling away in the straight.
Actually, that's a Joe Siffert, Hans Hermann car, that car we were just looking at, that Porsche 37, and actually got second at Sebring. So, again, fantastic history to have the likes of the great Hans Hermann and Joe Siffert. And, in fact, I think I saw that car parked up, and their names are still emblazoned on the side. I really like the groups this year. I don't know how, if you know how, I'm sure as a racer yourself, you always take interest in this, but there's a real pride that Jeffrey O'Neill, who knows his cars, thinks about how to do this, doesn't he?
Yeah, it works out well. You see the groupings and the mix of cars. It's really, really hard to put together a weekend like this and have a mixed group, but still cars fit their performance. Are close in performance, so there's not a car that's just out front, but it's really hard to get so many cars that will fit just in a specific group. Like we do in the Formula Juniors, we can bring in 20, 25 of the same cars that would have raced, but it's tough to have a like this class here. It has to cover many, many years of a span in the of the series. So sometimes you'll have a car that's 4 or 5 years older, but you have to, because there's not enough cars out running around. But he's done a great job to put a field together like this. You could just imagine what it was like to see a lot of these cars competing against each other in period.
Yeah, no question. We're looking at the Corvette now, the 63 Corvette. We've just seen the British Racing Green E-Type from 1964, owned by Cove Britain, who said his grandfather bought it, and it's been racing in vintage racing ever since. 2005, including Monterey and here, of course. There's your leader again.
Yeah, good little battle.
Gear Ramleth at the wheel. He's got a nice lead too.
Yep.
So this is the fifth running of Velocity. And it looks as though Rosenthal, you can see the gap was, what, 2.8 seconds, but he got stuck in traffic, did Rosenthal. And the 23X has lost quite a lot of time. So this is going to be an easy run for Ramleth now, if he holds it all together. And if you are thinking of coming and you are on the West Coast, we've got a full day today and tomorrow. So we'll be doing it all again tomorrow, and the two gentlemen with me will be in action early morning in Formula Junior. But yeah, if you're in the Bay Area, come on down. Well, he's tightening the gap again now. Here we go. So we are going to get a good finish to this.
Yeah, here we go. Yep.
Just got held up for a bit now. Now the battle's on. Guys, where do you do it? Into 11?
It's tough. It's not an easy. You have to do it into 11, yeah, but I'm not sure he's close enough. He can get a good run, but it's tough to make a lunge down here.
Yeah, we'll see how they both work through the traffic that they're coming up on as well.
Yeah, they got a bit of traffic to deal with too. It's going to be nip and tuck.
Yeah, going into 11 is going to be the
straight
best
line
chance.
Speed. Yeah, but he hasn't done it. We'll see how long he's got left. But you can see he's putting some effort into the wheel there. As they pass other cars, down the main straight they come again then. So still time to do it as they head back up the hill.
I think they might have put out the one to go. I saw the starter stand.
Where else can you overtake here at Sonoma?
Well, coming up to this right-hander before the bowl, it's a good place if you can get a good run through these this section here. But I think they're going to run up against some more traffic. Yeah, that would have been up. Whoa, well.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that was, and there's a on the exit from the carousel down here. There's another good opportunity, and he's got a good run down the hill.
Yeah, he's trying to pick his spot, isn't he?
Yeah.
So here we go. Surely on this next mini straight, I say mini straight, it's just not long.
Here he goes.
Yeah,
here we go.
Try him in there.
Use the grunt.
Oh,
he's defending well. This is good stuff.
And we have a
try to use the traffic into the right-hander next.
The Alpine did a good job of staying out of the way.
Well, those mirrors are tiny, but they all say red right now. So, this battle continuing, and we'll just wait to see the overtake.
Yeah, the section of S's there is almost impossible to put a pass on.
I think this is a chance now coming into 11, and he looks as though he's winding himself up for that chance. Here we go. David and Goliath somewhat.
Took away the...
But of course, the little Lotus can take, that's the beauty of it. The Lotus can take tighter corners and it's more nimble, as you can see. Got good torque, but on the straights. Let's head down though to Taylor down in Velocity pit lane.